Shalom, everyone. This is Chris Shoemaker, also known as Yehuda Ben Shomer, and welcome to the Daily Drosh. Today's Daily Drosh is taken from Luke chapter 15, and I'm going to be reading from the Living Bible paraphrase. And it says, dishonest tax collectors and other notorious sinners, we could throw in there prostitutes, thieves, often came to listen to Yeshua's sermons. But this caused complaints from the Jewish religious leaders and experts on Jewish law because he was associating with such despicable people, even eating with them. So we've heard the term guilty by association. You hang out with people of a bad reputation, other people are going to think that you're a part of them, that you're among their lot. Guilty by association, right? But here, Yeshua was eating with tax collectors and other sinners, the scum of society, the undesirables, the charlatans, the hucksters, the swindlers, the thieves, the prostitutes, the sinners. They were Jewish people, but they weren't Torah observant. They weren't religious. They weren't practicing Judaism. They were secular Jews. And the Jewish religious leaders, specifically the Pharisees, had a big problem with this. Now, we think, where it says here that the Jewish religious leaders and the experts in Jewish law, because he was associating with such despicable people, even eating with them. So we think, well, what's the big deal? Who cares who Yeshua was eating with? What's the big deal about eating with sinners? Don't we, here in the modern day, we eat with people who aren't Christians, who aren't Messianics? We eat with people who aren't of our religious belief or persuasion. We eat with sinners all the time. We eat with atheists. We eat with, co-workers and friends and family who aren't saved. So what's the big deal with eating with them? Why were they kicking up such a fuss? Well, you've got to understand the Eastern Hebraic mindset of that day and time. See, a meal wasn't just a meal. In Hebraic eyes, a meal symbolized fellowship. A meal symbolized like-mindedness. Meals were also used in a ritualistic way when two enemies came together to make a pact of peace or to make a truce. They would eat a fellowship meal to conclude the ritual of this, peace negotiation summit, if you will. We've seen this happen with Jacob and Laban. They ate a meal after covenanting with each other that they wouldn't cross each other's boundaries to do each other harm. It was a peace treaty. And so the Pharisees and the Jewish religious leaders of the day had a big problem with Yeshua eating with people that weren't Torah obedient, Torah observant Jewish men and women, because they were like, okay, they don't observe the Torah, so you're probably eating with somebody who's ritually unclean. This stepped on their customs and traditions. There's nothing in the Torah, nothing in the 5 books of Moses that prohibits someone from eating with a sinner, from eating with someone that is of a different religious persuasion or a different mindset or worldview than you have. There's nothing in it. This came strictly out of Jewish custom and tradition. And the thought behind it is that you don't eat with people you don't know. You don't eat with people who aren't Torah observant or religious. You don't eat with Gentiles, because in the process you could become ritually unclean. Therefore, you would be banned for a certain amount of time from participating in Jewish religious rituals or temple worship, because you can't do these things in a ritualistic, unclean state, and that's what they were afraid of. Actually, this is what the thing in Acts was talking about, the 4 laws that were given to the Gentiles. It was to solve that problem of Jews and Gentiles eating together. They gave these 4 laws as starter laws for the Gentiles so that Jews and Gentiles could eat together without the Jewish people being in fear of becoming ritually unclean, so as not to be able to participate in Jewish religious ceremonies or temple worship. And at the same time, it helped the Gentiles to make a clean break with their paganism and with their pagan roots and assimilate into keeping the commandments in the fellowship of the Messianic community. So, what was the big deal about Yeshua eating with these sinners? They were thinking that in doing so, that he agreed with them. or that that he was condoning their lifestyle. No, he was just simply loving them. He wasn't breaking Torah. He was breaking Jewish tradition and Jewish custom in order to bring people to the Torah, to bring these Jews who were out of fellowship with the law, out of fellowship with the covenant, bringing them back into the covenant through love. And that was the whole point of it. So in essence, it was sort of like a fellowship meal, a peace fellowship meal. They were making peace with God by fellowshipping with Yeshua, because Yeshua loved them and loved them into the kingdom, loved them into Torah obedience, loved them back into the Israelite community. And this infuriated the Pharisees and those of that were basing their whole religious life on custom and tradition and not strictly the Torah itself, because it stomped on their authority. It stomped on, their sacred cows, so to speak. So just wanted to point that out to you and hopefully enlighten you a little bit of what's behind this passage, of kind of what it meant back in the day and how we can apply it to our life. So yeah, it's no problem eating with people that don't agree with us or that are of a different mindset or persuasion. We love them into the kingdom. Hey, thanks for listening. Have a great day. Shalom, Shavua Tov. Thanks for watching. Stay connected by subscribing to our other social media accounts and visiting our website at abrahamsdescendants.com.